their families. Help them this day and throughout their public service to work always for the common good. May everything they do begin with your inspiration, continue through your divine assistance, and reach completion to your greater honor and glory. May it be so. Amen.
I recognize Senator Sanders for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call to order the seventh day of the 109th Legislature, second session. Senators, please record your presence. Roll call. Mr. Clerk, please record.
There's a quorum present, Mr. President.
Are there any corrections for the journal?
I have no corrections this morning, sir.
Are there any messages, reports, or announcements?
There are, Mr. President. Communication from the governor concerning the appointment of Senator Fred Meyer to the 41st Legislative District. In addition, the oath of office taken by Senator Meyer yesterday upon his appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Senator Meyer would like to recognize our physician of the day, Dr. Dave Holting of Pender. Please stand and be recognized by the Nebraska Legislature. Speaker Arch has some guests under the south balcony. Mark Daly and Grace Coyle, Mark Daly, Chair of the Irish Senate, and his Chief of Staff, Grace Coyle. Please stand and be recognized by the Nebraska Legislature. Mr. Clerk, for items.
Thank you, Mr. President. Additional items. Reference report from the Referencing Committee concerning an adopted reference report for legislative bills 989 through LB 1031, as well as LR 2299CA and LR 300, and a letter from the governor concerning two appointments to the State Highway Commission. Amendments to be printed from Senator Kauth to LBs 1032 through LB 1070, save for LB 1050. Additionally, notice committee hearing from the Nebraska Retirement Systems Committee, as well as the Banking, Commerce, and Insurance Committee. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Senator Clemens, you're recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that a committee of 5 be appointed to escort the governor of the state of Nebraska to the legislative chamber to deliver his State of the State address.
Members, you've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion is adopted. Will the committee escort the governor to the chamber, and the committee comprised of Senators Hallstrom, Holdcroft, Ibaugh, Quick, and Roundtree?
You could probably withstand a hurricane.
I recognize the Sergeant of Arms.
Mr. President, your committee now escorting the governor of the great state of Nebraska, Governor Jim Pillen, and First Lady Suzanne Pillen, and Second Lady Susie Kelly.
President Kelly, Speaker Arch, members of the 109th Legislature, tribal leaders, distinguished guests, and all my fellow Nebraskans. One year ago, I stood before you just a couple days after suffering some significant injuries while riding horseback at home. I think it's fair to say it was an extraordinary, life-giving moment, one that came close to my journey having a different path. But the upside was it reaffirmed in me a spirit of faith, hope, love, and extraordinary gratitude. Nebraskans are truly amazing. I can't thank all of you enough for your prayers. I have incredible gratitude for the people of our state, but most of all, I need to give a shout out to my bride, Suzanne, our amazing First Lady, for supporting me through every hardship and struggle I've endured this past year. Suzanne, you never get enough. Please stand and do that for me. Thank you. Just as I thank her for all she does for me and for putting up with me, I thank all the family of all the loved ones of everybody in this body, of everybody in our cabinet, for being behind us all as public servants in this room, for making it possible for you to come here and work to make Nebraska better. By the way, it's a lot less painful for me to stand here this year, so I hope you'll give me a little grace if I talk a little longer. 2025 was an immensely consequential year for our country and for our state. Much of the hard work that we have done, both in this chamber and across my administration, has come into full effect for the benefit of our people. We have worked tirelessly to shrink government so that it better serves Nebraskans, improving outcomes while cutting costs, waste, just like we do in a business. We have had progress and are working to instill a culture of efficiency and reform. We have finished the job of bringing workforce back from the pandemic and reduced our reliance on costly contractors providing duplicative and bloated work on projects and services that provide virtually no value for Nebraskans. We have honored the individual freedoms promised by our founding fathers, especially those of religious freedom and the Second Amendment. Through rules issued by my administration, we're enforcing what this body has worked so hard and endured so much to pass. Protections for Nebraska's kids from radical change sex treatments. Today, because of the massive victories I stood with in the pro-life community to achieve and enshrine in our Constitution, more babies in this state are being saved and protected from the tragedy of abortions than at any time since Roe versus Wade. New leadership in Washington has created countless new opportunities for Nebraska. From moving forward on long overdue energy development and regulatory reforms to speed up road construction, to generational investments in the rural economy, the Trump administration has proven its commitment to strengthening the parts of America which, like Nebraska, feed, fuel, and build this great nation. Because of that commitment, I have proudly built relationships through his administration focused on how we can do great things for Nebraska's future. We have already seen the fruits of those partnerships. Nebraska was the first in the nation to get a waiver to ban pop and energy drinks, which aren't food groups, by the way, from government-subsidized nutrition programs. We were the first in the nation to take advantage of the One Big Beautiful Bill opportunity to require able-bodied adults to work before they access welfare. I was the first governor in the country to sign an executive order indicating Nebraska's intent to opt into the federal scholarship tax credit program, a move that could bring millions of federal dollars to our great state to support all kids. And just so that we get that straight, it's kids in public education, it's kids in private education, it's kids that are being homeschooled. We working together to get that message out is a game changer for our state and most importantly for our kids. And most recently, we're in the top 10 states for federal investments from the groundbreaking Rural Health Transformation Program. We received over $218 million for 2026 alone. We have 4 more years to go, and we're just getting started. This stuff is a win-win for Nebraska and a win-win for America. Our partnerships with President Trump and his cabinet are also keeping Nebraskans and families around our country safe. Because of our shared commitment to border security and immigration enforcement, Nebraska became one of the first states in the nation to establish an ICE detention facility to help get criminal, illegal aliens off of our streets. We have a simple message. Nebraska is proud to be doing our part to get the border secure and to protect America's kids from criminals, from trafficking people, from gang violence, and the drugs like fentanyl and meth. The need for going after these criminal illegal aliens could not be more clear than today. Right here in Nebraska, just a few weeks ago, we have seen several examples of the danger these individuals are creating and the cartel terrorists and the criminal organizations they support and the threats they pose to our country and our communities. One recent incident in Omaha demonstrated not only their danger, but also showcased the great risks that our men and women in blue face every day, every time they put their uniform on. On December 3rd, a convicted felon and El Salvadorian national in our country illegally was being hunted by the Omaha Police Gang Unit after this person shot an innocent man in a grocery store. They followed him to a gas station in a different part of town, confronted him in a restroom. After the officers ordered him to surrender, he came out of a stall, guns blazing, shooting, hitting 3 police officers. This criminal met his end in that gas station restroom, and only by the grace of God, none of the officers were killed. We have with us today the 6 officers from the great Omaha Police Department who bravely confronted that criminal. In the left side of me, in the back, Detective Jordan Brandt, Detective Christopher Brown, Detective Kyle Graber, Sergeant Jonathan Holtrup, Sergeant Emilio Luna, and Detective Brock Ringel. These men present all the brave. Please give it up. These brave men represent the highest calling of government, to keep us safe. I don't know about you, that was a heck of a goosebump moment for me. Although the challenges we face as a nation are great, and in spite of a few Debbie Downers, the facts are crystal clear. This is an extraordinary moment for Nebraska. Extraordinary. After the volatility of the last few years driving large part from rampant inflation during the Biden years, Nebraska's economy has grown faster than most states, just posting the 6th highest quarterly GDP growth rate in the country, according to the most recent data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. After years of troubling declines in net migration to Nebraska, we are seeing a positive trend, showing that our growth is stable, it's steady, and it's healthy. Nebraska is now setting population records. We've seen significant growth in our urban cores and throughout our state. And for the first time ever, we now have more than 2 million Nebraskans living the good life. 2 million. That's a shout out, isn't it? Our economy is incredibly broad, led by agriculture, banking, manufacturing, healthcare, construction, and insurance. We in Nebraska, our economy remains recession-proof. We can bet the farm that Nebraska's primed to grow. Our ethanol industry has been championed by the Trump administration as playing a key role in American energy dominance and security. Today, we can proudly say Nebraska ethanol is #1 in America. The investments we've made in our roads and infrastructure are paying off. I'm looking forward to being in Norfolk in a few days to announce that we have accelerated the long overdue completion of the critical Highway 275 from Norfolk all the way to Omaha. It'll be a great day for Northeast Nebraska. It'll be a great day for Omaha. It will be a great day for Nebraska. And for our cattle industry, the backbone of Nebraska agriculture. Let's just simply say thriving is not a good enough adjective to say how awesome our cattle producers are doing in the state of Nebraska. Absolutely hitting it out of the park. And we're number one again in America. And if there's one thing I know all of us agree on, it's a great day when we can say Nebraska beats Texas. Texas, move over, you're number two. Right? For these and countless other reasons, the state of our state is as strong as ever. But with the work of the leaders in this chamber, I believe we can make it even stronger. This session will be short, but if we can set aside goober politics and stick to principles and use our time wisely, it can be awesome. First and foremost, we must continue to emphasize through both our actions and policies that the good life is open for business. 2025 included Nebraska's first recognition of a homegrown unicorn company, a privately held startup that has achieved a valuation of over $1 billion right here in Nebraska. This type of feat takes right Nebraska grit, innovation, determination, and a great product and great execution and a massive investor confidence. The team behind Company Cam, founded by the Hanson family, who runs a Lincoln roofing company, that needed a better process to document their job sites. They've done just that, building a construction management app startup right here, creating careers and opportunities for the incredible people of our state. Members of the Company Cam team are here with us today. Please stand to be recognized, and I ask you to join me in congratulating Nebraskans for success hitting it out of the park. Cam team, there you are. Thanks, guys. Thank you. There are countless other examples across our great state who have just worked hard building success in our communities. And nobody knows because we never brag about it. They, along with so many other innovators, are proof of what is possible here if we continue to build a climate where businesses are free to form, free to grow, free to thrive. With an already low regulation environment and plummeting tax rates, we've done much to make Nebraska even more open for business. One area where we must do better to ensure Nebraska is not a haven for opportunistic trial lawyers chasing jackpot litigation. The cost that hardworking business owners and their teams must bear to defend against junk lawsuits is simply debilitating. We must shield against that in Nebraska. Senators Bozen, Hallstrom, Sorrentino, and Kauth have introduced a series of tort reform bills that will make sure that Nebraska is not a place where the risk of frivolous lawsuits destroys the freedom for job creations and job creators to thrive. Growing Nebraska's workforce is critical. It's essential, and we must support the businesses that recruit new Nebraskans to come here and put down roots. So I like to say it's the market. And we have to compete to win, and we're doing that work. Throughout this last year, my team has worked closely with business leaders, with chambers of commerce leaders, economic development experts, to develop Grow the Good Life Incentive. Grow the Good Life Incentive, which will provide significant tax credits to businesses of all sizes that grow their businesses and bring new high-paying careers here to Nebraska. This is groundbreaking. Incentive will be second to none. Giving businesses a 10% tax credit for a full decade when they grow their business by bringing new, highly paid people to our state. Senator Von Gillen is carrying this key economic development bill, and I look forward to signing it into law so that we can give our businesses and our industries a powerful tool to grow their businesses here in Nebraska. We can, and we will, and we do compete with anybody around in this country and around the world. I look forward to having it on my desk shortly. Electrical power is another of the great keys to economic prosperity in the coming years. Because of the growth in artificial intelligence and the energy-intensive industries, regions that find a way to produce vastly more electricity than they do now will thrive, while those who fail will shrink. Really simple. Gone are the days when data center meant a giant warehouse or servers storing our emails and cat videos in the cloud, hogging power but employing very few people. The facilities of the future, let's call them AI factories, are critical, not just for the information economy, but for our national security. We simply can't lose them to our foreign adversaries. Nebraska will win the electricity and AI power game, and there is just simply no other option. The good news is we are already blessed with a strong foundation. Our unique, only Nebraska public power system has built the most affordable and reliable grid in America, but we have to keep it that way. One major way is to remove the red tape and obstacles for large power users like artificial intelligence, aviation fuel, or bioeconomy plants to build their own power plant and sell excess electricity to our grid. This behind the meter generation is important, and with a very small twist, modest changes in our public power laws, we can make it possible here in Nebraska now. Senator DeKay is carrying a bill to make this happen, and I thank the senator for helping us to power our economy going forward. We must continue our work to reduce the tax burdens for Nebraska, whether they live in Omaha or Ogallala. Our tax policy is simply broken. We have to come together to fix it. We have made some progress, from delivering the largest tax cut in state history, to capping local tax collections, to making property tax accessible to all, not just those that can afford pricey accountants and attorneys. We stopped the disgrace of taxing our senior citizens on Social Security income, for crying out loud. And we removed community colleges from the property tax rolls in order to strengthen our great community college system. But the work is far from complete, and the people of this state expect this of us to continue working to fix the property tax crisis. I believe tax cuts work. I believe they give Nebraska families and small businesses a boost. Unfortunately, over the past 4 decades plus, much of what Nebraskans has done is create carve-outs, subsidies, loopholes, and exemptions. What we thought was a tax cut was a tax shift. To truly deliver a real and durable tax cut, we must simply deliver an equal decrease in government spend. This legislature has the opportunity to lead Reform efforts and join me in passing a budget that delivers lasting and transformative tax relief to Nebraskans, our homeowners, our farmers, and our ranchers. I have proposed, and Speaker Arch has introduced on my behalf, a budget that does just that. It does so by cutting spending, saying no. From streamlining welfare programs to smartly aligning our correctional facility resources to meet our current population needs, we are delving into parts of the state's budget and shining the light in unprecedented ways. The result of this budget will mean a $500 million improvement to the state's bottom line in this biennium. For those doing the math, take note, the proposal eliminates the make-believe budget crisis that so many critics have imagined over the last few months. Not only does this budget keep Nebraska on a thriving fiscal course for our state, checking account, our state savings account, are all in historically strong position. Simply put, the breathless doomsday stories are not to be believed. Nebraska's fiscal health is beyond question. The state of Nebraska today has a general fund reserve of nearly $2 billion and the highest credit rating in our history. Maybe I think I ought to re-say that. We have a nearly $2 billion in the bank and our highest credit rating ever. All of us in business understand that. Later this year, we will make transfers for additional property tax relief. And even after that, we're still over $1.3 billion in unobligated reserves. Beyond a healthy reserve, it's not the job of state to hoard taxpayer money. We must give it back or put it to work for Nebraskans. Across state government, we're making progress. We're saving money or merging duplicative, costly parts of government. Funding promising Nebraska-born businesses, creating high-paying careers, and investing in workforce development by repurposing stagnant cash. Running government like a business, identifying inefficiencies and waste. Everything everybody in this room's done before you came here. Our Department of Health and Human Services has achieved unprecedented net savings of $141 million this biennium. Rooting out fraudsters, returning $30 million to taxpayers by cutting off ineligible individuals who have been trying to collect Medicaid benefits from other states. Bottom line, our strategy of running government like a business and tightening its belt the same way Nebraska families have to, may not always get the nicest headlines, but it's making sure our state's finances remain strong and we avoid the shenanigans and fraud so rampant in poorly run states across America. Even as we make crucial and overdue reductions in government's bloat and size, we have retained the capacity and courage to make timely investments in Nebraska's future. We will enshrine that the state standing strongly behind the future of Offutt Air Force Base community, establishing a program to grow the base's mission, personnel, and funding. We're adding funds so the tremendously successful Business Innovation Act, which has done so much to kickstart new and innovative Nebraska companies. And at my direction, we will ensure those funds are invested more efficiently through smart private sector partners, not government bureaucracy. And while leaving the University of Nebraska budget unchanged, we have secured an agreement with university leadership to facilitate that every single Nebraska student who scores a 33 or better on their ACT of getting a full scholarship with housing to the University of Nebraska. Gone are the brain drain. We're keeping our kids here. We're finally going to compete with scholarships. There's much to cut in state government, and the work will not be done in just one or even a couple budget cycles. But with the budget, I've called for historic reductions while continuing to improve services for Nebraskans and make investments in our future. Together, we can establish a trend of spending restraint and fiscal conservatism that will reduce the burden and cost of government for our people and make our state competitive for the next generation and for 7 generations to come. As we keep Nebraska a place that is wide open for business, we must also ensure that it remains a safe place, governed with strong Nebraska values. Senator Kauth continues her tenacious leadership to protect our kids and to shield Nebraska's girls' spaces from men. While we've delivered important protections for locker rooms and similar spaces last year, silly politics left restrooms out of the bill. That simply doesn't add up for Nebraskans with basic common sense. It doesn't matter if they live in Ralston or Rushville. I call upon this body to finish the job of keeping Nebraska a safe space for girls by putting Senator Kauth's bill on my desk. Thank you. We must also ensure Nebraska's public institutions of higher education remain places of hard research, learning, academic success, not woke political laboratories. We need to focus on who we are. Last time I checked, we are Nebraska, not a woke ivory tower on the coast. How destructive would it be if our great University of Nebraska followed the same path that so-called elite coastal schools have, embracing pronoun culture, DEI discrimination, anti-Semitism, and radical critical race theory invasion into their curriculum? To these misguided students and families who actually want that for their money, other places work. Nebraska's higher education system should be a model of true academic freedom, rigor, and race blindness. It should be governed by the same principles that have made this state great, and by doing so, it will be a beacon to kids across the country that will want to come to a place truly devoted to higher learning. Kids like Maya Rourke, who is with us today in the balcony. Maya came to the University of Nebraska simply wanting a hard education, not political indoctrination or to be shamed for her beliefs or values. She has had the courage to speak up, which is no small feat when you're a college sophomore. And her example has been an extraordinary inspiration to me. To do more to protect our kids here on our campuses. Maya, please stand. Maya, please be recognized for your incredible courage in doing what's right. Thank you. To help honor that courage, I've introduced language in the budget that will definitely end DEI and CRT from Nebraska's higher education system. I look forward to signing that into law. Let's help recommit the University of Nebraska to its principles of its founding. What it national light of free thought and academic excellence. And let's then watch it thrive beyond all of our wildest expectations. We'll continue to make worthy investments in Nebraska elementary and secondary students, teachers, and schools, ensuring classrooms, environments that are ripe for learning. Today, I'd like to introduce to you Michelle Thorne, from Grand Island. Michelle's an educator who works as an academic support coach, helping students with behavioral issues. Legislation passed in a Christmas tree bill in 2023 that I signed prevented schools from suspending disruptive kindergarten through second grade students from school, no matter what took place. Michelle has first-hand experience of these issues that the law has created, as it unintentionally has damaged the classroom experience at many schools in our state. All educators agree, for the sake of our kids, teachers, and schools, we must make this right. Michelle, thank you for being here. Michelle, please stand up. Thanks for being here, representing, investing in our kids, and educating us all. Thank you, Michelle. You know, for the record, taking care of our kids better be bipartisan. Recognizing a teacher better be bipartisan. I don't care what color of vest we wear. It's hogwash if it's not bipartisan when we're talking about our kids. Man alive. Education in Nebraska deserves better. Our kids deserve better. Our teachers deserve better. By passing this legislation introduced by Senator Merman, we'll help restore order in classrooms so teachers can do their best without distraction. This legislation, even with a short window of time, must seize the opportunity to accomplish other priorities as well. Senator Jacobson's Ag Data Privacy Bill has been the subject of tremendous collaboration and work over the interim, and its passage will ensure that in an age of information, where data is everything in Nebraska farmers and livestock producers, that they stay in firm control of their most valuable asset. The data about what they grow, what they plant, when and how they fertilize, how much they irrigate, and all the other work that goes into helping feed the world. I believe that Nebraska family farmers own that data, and we're going to defend our producers from any misguided entities that have other ideas. After a year in which acts of anti-Semitism served nationwide, making sure acts are not only enforceable as a discrimination, but reported by the governing bodies of our educational institutions is critical to ensure Nebraska remains a good life for our strong Jewish community in Nebraska. Senator Hardin's LB 538 would align Nebraska with many other states by adopting a strong anti-Semitism definition policy and enjoys strong bipartisan support in this body. I ask you to send it to my desk without delay. Thank you. And finally, we've arrived at the critical juncture of the 30-year-old long-running debate over whether Nebraska should unify and strengthen its voice when it comes to presidential elections, which this body's decided to do 30 years ago. I've favored restoring the law to award our electoral college votes to the candidate who gets the most votes. And there's a clear majority in this body that believes that. But the minority of the body has been able to obstruct that will. I call upon this legislature to pass Senator Doran's LR 24CA to place this question on the November ballot so that the people of Nebraska can decide the final say on how their voice is heard in America's most important national elections. I ask you to get that to my desk. Thank you. In 2025, we celebrated 80 years of victory with the Nebraska's World War II veterans. What an incredible privilege for me to get to give so many medallions out to our greatest generation. Every medallion we gave out to veterans across the state was a thank you on behalf of Nebraska for their service, and to make sure it's a sharp reminder for our families and all of us of the extraordinary sacrifice it takes to keep our country free. Last month, let me tell you, I had a privilege and honor that I'll never forget as long as the good Lord allows me to take breaths, of presenting a Purple Heart that was earned but never received to a Vietnam veteran hero and Nebraskan named Ray Krings. I've known their family for an extended period of time, so it makes it really, really close to my heart. 5 decades ago, Ray graduated in 1967, was drafted to the Vietnam War, and as a member of the United States Army in Vietnam, Ray was severely injured during a surprise middle of the night attack by North Vietnam soldiers. An explosion in his bunker pinned him underneath rubble, ultimately leading to the loss of both of his legs. Guess what? Ray Krings never let that slow him down one iota, just like most Nebraskans. Ray didn't have time to throw himself a pity party. He had too much life to live. When Ray returned home, he married his high school sweetheart, Joyce, grew a family of 7 children and 26 grandchildren. Guess what he did? He farmed. He's recently retired. Everybody in the neighborhood was happy Ray retired because he was the best farmer in the neighborhood. His story is incredibly inspiring, unbelievably Nebraskan. Ray never asked anybody for anything. He figured out how to get himself up into a tractor long before there were any special stuff. Ray is a shining light of Nebraska's can-do attitude. An attitude that all of us here and the state need to remember as we go through every day. Unity is indeed an important theme as we embark on 2026. 2017, we celebrate 150th year of statehood, and this year America celebrates our 250th year as a nation. What a quarter of a millennium it's been for our country. We're so blessed to live where we are. Our nation was blessed with extraordinary founding fathers, guided by providence, and created a federal system of self-governance on one of the most brilliant, absolutely brilliant constitutional documents ever enacted by human beings. Everything we have achieved as a republic, every challenge or flaw we've overcome, has been possible because of the amazing document and the generations of leaders which have honored it and given its words meaning and force. At the center of all this system are the states. We, the states, are the grassroots of democracy. How lucky are we all to be here at the 250th birthday of our country, to be the stewards of that public trust. Have you thought of that? It's unbelievable. How lucky we are to be blessed with the challenge and the privilege of leadership, to do the hard work of leaving a better Nebraska for our neighbors and kids and for generations to come. And what's so awesome about everybody here, when we're done, you know who's going to remember us? Remember what we did? Nobody. But we're working our tails off for the people, like what's been going on in this country for 250 years and 157 for Nebraska. I personally am incredibly grateful beyond words for that blessing, and I know all the men and women in this legislature are too. I look forward to working alongside you with that Ray Krings-like can get it done attitude. To do the work of our state this session and I thank you for your incredible service. May God bless the state of Nebraska. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you for all you do. God bless. Thank you.
Will the committee escort the governor from the chamber and the First Lady?